And welcome to a special Blood Bowl battle report. That's right, this is Heretic U here, and today we're doing something I call brilliant coaching, which is really armchair quarterbacking, if you think about it. So we're going to watch an entire game, and I'm going to narrate over it, give you my thoughts, and so I can pretend like I'm some sort of expert. Today is a game between Phil and Mark, and it's Chaos Dwarfs versus Nurgle. Both coaches are very new to Blood Bowl. This is, I think, their third game really playing, and this is for the league. So I was not allowed to interject or give my thoughts on what they should do. So we're going to see two new coaches kind of approach the game, and it should be pretty interesting. Starting with the weather, which was sweltering heat. So quite possibly affecting the coach's playstyle because you could be down potentially half your team, not due to injuries, just due to heat exhaustion. Let's see how it plays out. All right, opening setup. Chaos Dwarves are kicking to Nurgle. Let's take a look at what opening play they have in mind here. Looks like they're going to throw everybody on the line. Interesting strategy. He's putting the Bull Centaurs. They're going to play safety. Now, I like the Bull Centaurs in the backfield, honestly, because with Nurgle, they could potentially bust through that line. They are a bashy team. Maybe not as bashy as the Chaos Dwarves, but they can definitely hurt a guy or two. Especially, there are hobgoblins that are on this line, and when you do a setup like that, you're basically asking the guy to just start hitting your hobgoblins, and that would be potentially devastating for Phil. Yeah, the hobgoblins they're pretty squishy, but they're also very necessary for picking up the ball. So it's a big risk for the dwarves to just come out like this and depend on their line to sort of hold this initial block by Nurgle. So Nurgle is responding by pretty much. It looks like he's matching man for man. Because in most cases he's gonna, depending on the kickoff table, he's going to be able to initiate the block war. And this game is going to come down to who wins that block war. So we'll see how Nurgle plays it here. If I was the coach, I'd definitely start smacking hobgoblins first and try to weaken that line. You could definitely start with a 2-die block. I think you've got he has 2 Chaos Warriors at Strength 4, and he has a Beast of Nurgle. So with that, he could just open up with a nice 2-die block and then start blocking down the line. But definitely start hurting or knocking out some of those hobgoblins. Well, let's see how the kickoff goes. Looks like your Chaos Dwarves are playing it safe, putting the ball towards the center, not risking possibility of a touchback. And I think they've rolled cheering fans. And with I should mention that the Chaos Dwarves do have have the +1 fame, and they actually get an additional reroll. So let's take a look at as the ball bounces its final bounce. Let's see what the opening move of the Chaos Dwarves are, or Nurgle.
Do you guys have something to mark? I got mine.
You need like a model.
Treasure hunts, eh?
Yeah. So go to
Only if we're at a game store. There you go. Necron crystal.
Or they get single crystals too. That's too big.
That's good. Okay, my one.
This is good for me because it also shows, all right, how to set things up. So if I put the rerolls over here and the score somewhere else.
And you can maybe put the dugouts.
Yeah.
What I was planning on doing was building dugouts with like a rock base and then putting bricks around in a low pattern just makes it separate.
You know what a lot of people do is they make the dugouts the carrying display boards.
Dwarfs are strength 3. Outgoings are 2s, 3. Threes, okay.
Yeah. Strength 4, everything else is strength 3.
Okay.
She's gonna walk
Block, tackle, big skull.
Okay. Alright.
Chaos Warrior strength 4.
Yes.
No skills, right?
Yeah, no skills. Disturbing presence and into
So that means if Vanessa
gross wherever you want to
line of sight, when they pass, intercept or catch.
yes. Also, anytime you try to block the beast or one of the warriors, D6, anything but a 1.
Apparently, I'm using it wrong. It's as long as you have
You guys just refuse to touch them.
it does not end. The
Squeamish Chaos Dwarfs, I love it.
Yep.
It doesn't end. Like, I can follow you the whole
At least the
game.
Nurgle has tentacles. So dodging is going to be a problem.
Yes. Well, it's a strength check, so it's not as bad.
So she has 3 AP.
All right. Start with here.
3 times.
He's going to this guy.
Yeah. So yeah.
But I thought Shadow ended when you use your mind. It doesn't.
Take the knockdown.
Until you cast
Push
it.
you there.
Well, I'll never ever cast it again. That's awesome.
What's their armor?
Their armor is 9.
Okay, this is cracked.
$70 burned in your hole in your pocket. Jeez, Steve, come on.
Is he going to take the spot?
No.
I just get out of line of sight.
He will go ahead and block here now. Strengthen up. That's reroll.
The coconuts already. Second block of the game, and Nurgle is forced to burn a reroll off the dreaded double skulls roll. But as you can see now, Nurgle's opened up a pretty decent hole.
Okay, 0 action. Let's see. I need
All right.
8 of mass. No, I need 6 of master to go off.
Beast and Nurgle. What's the armor on Hobnob?
7. Keep that up. And he'll get leap. So he has 7. I'm just happy I got this
7-inch leap.
name in
Oh,
the
snap.
Yeah, so he'll go up to here.
The fact that they play on the blacktop.
Chaos Ghost can do. And what's Shane's
With green
defense?
bases, you know.
Yeah.
Well, it helps him stand out. Mighty 5. Okay.
Mighty.
Yes, that is a mighty 5.
Okay, he will blitz. He'll end up there. Strength advantage from horns. Both down.
Wow. And Nurgle goes down like a cheap hooker. First turnover of the game. A decent blitz with the horns on the player gave him the strength bonus. 2-up die roll, but Mark rolls his second bad roll of the game.
Well, he'll stand up.
Especially devastating because, as you can see, the ball has no body around it. So let's see how the Chaos Dwarfs respond.
Until your roll side to side.
Second shot.
It's 3 to get up, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 3 to go.
So he's at a 15.
I'll move there.
Oh, and he's a mighty.
And then he'll get up and move back here.
Okay, so 16.
And let's see.
Straight flip.
You're 8.
I'll start hurting people.
Cheat pads, maybe I get something else.
He's going to block him.
Okay. Straight up. We're both strength 3.
Okay. And then, you get the +1, I got the +1, right? So,
And then, they're in each other's tackle zone, so they can't assist.
despite him being so a single dice.
Yep.
And even the real life fluff makes him a spirit.
I'll knock you here.
That's weird. They should have that.
He's a flyer.
Chaos Dwarfs respond with their opening move of, he's standing guys up first, but 1-die blocks. Kind of a dangerous thing to do, but gamble worked out for him.
So I'll take that one. See what I get to. I'll put you here. 16, 15 to your 8. And I think I will occupy the space. 7, that's moderate. Let's see.
One life left.
Need to roll armor.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Cracks.
Well, are we gonna say
Stun.
Still stunning.
So, extremely good start for the Chaos Dwarves. The turnover committed by Nurgle actually resulted in a stun player, and they've got another stun player off these initial blocks. So, essentially 2 guys down for Nurgle's next turn, and the block war has just begun. So, what we're seeing here is one Bashy team taking advantage of an early turnover, which should have been a deadly, setup for the Chaos Dwarves. You could see how Nurgle was breaking through that line pretty easily. If it wasn't for bad dice rolls, if Nuffle didn't decide to screw him, then we would have been looking at a different opening half for the Chaos Dwarves now, or Nurgle. Now, Chaos Dwarves are taking advantage and winning the block war.
These two teams.
That's the one mechanic I really don't like, actually.
These two teams really just want to beat each other up and later.
The problem is your turn really stops. You can just throw an entire turn away.
Yeah.
That's the mechanic I'm so hard on.
So that's the best part of the game. So she moves every dice roll. She's like, oh god.
What's the strength of the beast? 5.
5? I should go up towards. Okay.
Shadow is target.
I'm gonna blitz with one of those two. Moving 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I'd have to go for it. Okay. I'll just do it this one. 1, 2,
As long as it's not directly.
4,
It's like,
5. They're like narrow direction, but not directly.
Roll to see if you can make sure you can.
Closer towards
it's like a move like really crappy shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay, she's gonna do.
Okay, you're one strength up on me.
I took that one.
Where do you want me?
I think I'll put you on here. And I will occupy the space. And what's your armor?
And the Beast of Nurgle goes down. Chaos Dwarves going right at the big guy, pummeling the Nurgle front line there, and which is very dangerous for Nurgle. Is in a very dangerous position right now. They have no guys surrounding the ball, and if the Dwarves can block their way through, I mean it doesn't appear like they have enough squares to get to it, but they can definitely start threatening that backfield there and potentially get a really easy score. So Nurgle's going to have to kind of scramble and do something quick here because the block war is just not working for you. Now take a look at Nurgle's front line there, just devastated, including the Beast of Nurgle. Big guys going down. Dwarves just continually punishing that front line there. So it's going to put Nurgle in a very tough decision, if you ask my opinion here, because basically his next turn is just going to be standing guys up. He doesn't have enough guys to form a cage, and if he commits another turnover, for sure there will be a dwarf in scoring position. Well, maybe not a dwarf, but hobgoblin or something like that could potentially be in a scoring position. So right off the bat, matching guys man for man on that line of scrimmage it seemed like a good idea, but it is a big gamble because pretty much you're throwing blocks the entire time. And when you do that, anytime you throw dice against a team with several guys with block, such as the Chaos Dwarves have, you risk a turnover, and now he's got no one to form a cage, and it looks like the Chaos Dwarves are just pushing into his backfield. And then we see our first foul by the Chaos Dwarves. Really good foul too, because it was able to basically take a guy off the pitch. Now Nurgle has the regenerate rule. Mark passed his regenerate role, and so the guy ends up in the reserves box. However, for this drive, he is down at least one player in this opening sequence. So it's going to take a lot for Nurgle to rebound from an opening like this. It's again, I can't stress the simple fact of protecting the ball first, having enough players in your backfield so that you can at least cage up in the backfield so that you can avoid situations like this. But we'll see how Nurgle deals with it. Again, two very new players. This is Mark's maybe third game of Blood Bowl. And so it's just interesting to see how he responds. Now, here he is starting his next turn, and he is getting his players up and hopefully going to figure out a way to retaliate against this devastating opening salvo by the Chaos Dwarfs.
Yeah, it costs 3 squares up there. And
he will
there's a one square tackle zone around each guy. So to leave that, you have to make a dodge check. Because that guy could wrap up your legs and you fall down. If you fall down, you're turning.
Strength advantage from horns. So I'll take that one. Knock
his
you
best
there.
shot is just to stand up and end his turn.
Don't crack armor.
So you only get these rerolls for the game.
They were each half.
Yeah. This guy.
Like you said, it's finals.
Oh yeah, that's what
I forgot his fault.
I go to see something.
Go for it.
It's not lonely there.
Naturally.
Oh, this guy's
And Nurgle once again, turnover, this time on a failed go for it. So, 2 turnovers early in the game, basically Nuffle giving every shot to the Chaos Dwarfs to recover the ball. So the thing about that turnover that's so deadly is it happened very early in the turn. So, Mark was moving a guy in for an assist, which is a great idea, but he needed to do a go for it roll in order for the guy to be in a position to assist. Failing that go for it roll that early in the game, if we take a look at the line of scrimmage as it stands right now, every Chaos Dwarf is basically adjacent to an enemy player, which means that they're going to get free hits on Nurgle. Now, Nurgle's not a squishy team, but it's still going to hurt. I mean, Nurgle's already down a guy at this point, and the Chaos Dwarves can actually take advantage of. They have an early number advantage. They can start pummeling guys, and they have a ball that's wide open in the backfield. So we'll have to see how this all plays out. But if I'm Nurgle, I wouldn't. Again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but at least put one tackle zone on the ball. I mean, he's got a guy in the backfield who's free to move, didn't require any risk to get there, and it's been a couple turns, and he has not moved him. And So when that happens, you're leaving yourself open for the other team to basically perform like an onside kick, which is especially devastating because your team's not that fast. So, if he goes down at the half, say 1-0, he's kicking the ball off to the Chaos Dwarfs. This is extremely deadly. You do not want to go in the half one down against a slow, kind of bashy team that can just kind of cage up and eat clock. But it's still early, so Nurgle could respond and do so accordingly. They just sort of have to be mindful of what's going on and just stick to the basics of Blood Bowl.
This one's going to move up. 1, 2, stop.
Your webcam setup.
I'll take that one.
I know what I gotta do. We lost Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah.
Let's go ahead and push him that direction.
Alright, free course arm's gonna go.
So that whole side is gone.
Is going to attempt
Mostly Tuesdays and Wednesdays, as far as I know.
Holy crap, it works.
I haven't been for a while. Roll armor.
7 inches.
Yep.
Gets it.
What the? Knocked out.
Knocked out. Roll 1d6 for me.
And so we have another KO by the Chaos Dwarf. So 3 guys off the pitch at this point. Extremely great start for the Chaos Dwarfs. Not a lot of SPP, but you are pummeling this line. You are punishing them for trying to go man to man against your team.
I'm just wondering if I should go with somebody else to try and stop that, but he's a Chaos Warrior, so I'll just I'll ignore that.
Yeah. Welcome to Dwarves, Lemmy. Iron Man.
I'll go ahead and put you there.
No. On a boat down, you fall in place.
Oh, he falls in place.
Also at 9.
Okay, he goes to me, right?
And so that's armor.
I cheat first. I'm gonna
Yeah, you're cheating. You're losing technically. Cheat goes you.
Done. Okay.
I read Vanessa's thing.
He'll try him.
I gotta look at top 3 cards of my thing and see what to go.
Yeah, so
How are you guys?
you pick.
take another one.
No. At this point, there's only a top 3.
I mean, I don't care. Like,
Before that happens, then I'll do him against him.
That's what I figured.
you could just take that back. I don't mind. I'm not really gonna care.
Oh, it could happen, Lemmy.
Coconut and
Dang it.
So over here.
So where are you at? A 16?
And I will move up to, I'll stay where I am.
I'll take it up to 18.
Alright, negative.
And
I'm the
now,
lowest, but I'm going to use his ability of Haymaker, Enhanced Fist.
yeah, now he'll go against him. So, strength advantage, or is it?
He's throwing him against him?
Yeah.
In my favor.
Weapons damage flip receives
Because
plus.
he's in his turn.
Or what do I him in this?
Oh, yeah, so yeah, strength straight up.
Looks like the Dwarves forgot to roll against armor against that hit. Again, we're talking new players, and I was just sort of watching and enjoying the game. I missed that myself.
Roll d6 for his disturbing growth.
It's still not great, but it's not bad.
And then if I wanted to do anything else,
Okay, second shot. Hit her hard.
well, he can move now freely.
Double man.
So
15.
let's see it. 6,
17.
1, 2, 3,
I'll take it up to an
5,
18.
6. Go for it.
Yeah. I'm just gonna narrate over it. Like, one.
There, just gonna pick it up, and he's got a agility of 3, so he needs what, a 4 better?
Because he's not
It's not anything for 6.
Okay.
Saki.
It's hockey, yeah.
Picks it up.
What? Alright, let's do.
And I think I'll just with going for it. But strength 5, I'm strength 3. He doesn't count, but he helps +1, so I'd be 2 down, 1. You'd be picking the best of 2.
Thought about it, but that means the Saki could have dived and charged in there.
Yeah, why not?
So, like, a couple other crazy things are happening right now. One, we've got the Chaos Dwarves getting to the ball, picking up on a go-for-it pickup roll, and then they push their luck and do a 2 uphill block, and it works out. They get a push. So, Nuffle is just rewarding the Chaos Dwarves early on here.
It's Malifaux.
I got about one shot.
I know, that's
Spiky.
Yeah, it's not. We'll add some more spikes.
To win or to come back?
To not have this, not let him get the touchdown.
Yeah, he has armor too. And he can do 2 damage or less before armor goes into effect.
Sweltering damage on the blacktop.
3 damage every time. Minimum.
It is. Wow.
Yeah.
Alright.
But you get to do
You almost don't want to score. And it's this hot outside.
He will block here. Straight
You
up.
have to roll for each. God!
Wow.
Oh my god, dude. There you go.
And again, Nurgle rolls double skulls, has to burn their final reroll of the half on their opening block, and it does work out for them. But remember, he's got to make a blitz move on that ball carrier, and now he's got no rerolls. So a very tough defensive stance for Nurgle. Things not looking so well for them early on.
mask. You need a high mask at the
He'll blitz.
Alright, let's see. Okay, my Ronin's gonna go. Ronin's going to use run through. So Ronin's gonna push.
Couldn't get it.
Pushes for 6.
Who has the ball?
I'll take one down.
Make a melee check.
Little hobgoblin.
Down. And the ball comes loose and scatters, doesn't it?
Yeah, both players are going to fall down where they're at.
And so Nurgle on the blitz takes the both down result,
So now
opting for just popping the ball out. And pretty smart move, because you want to force your opponent to sort of scramble and try to pick up that ball.
that was the right move, though.
With a push, he really didn't have anyone to sort of lock the guy up and stack tackle zones without making some risky dodges. So, pretty good defensive stance for Nurgle, considering all that has happened to them this opening half.
Round to him first, but the way I'm rolling will probably matter. Because the hope was he moves forward a couple spaces, kill him, knock him down, get the ball.
And chuck it.
Yeah.
3.
Equal. Okay, so it's double negative 4. But she has a plus on her sword.
Try.
So it's 2 in the lowest.
Holy crap.
Gets it. So it's gonna take 2. Shake head.
5. Rolling like
She's gonna go for trigger of. What is that called? The next target. So she
Go for it.
4 inches.
Reroll.
Reroll.
Okay.
And one more go for it.
One more go for it.
He could go all
No, this is just a regular
the
touchdown.
way.
This way he can't pick it up.
He got it. All right. Heat exhaustion.
And touchdown, Chaos Dwarves. They score first blood. A set of improbable rolls there. Having to pick up the ball after being knocked down, and make 2 go for it. So now they did burn a reroll, but if you think about it, they got a reroll early on. So now we're looking at the results for Sweltering Heat as the guys start rolling for each player here. This could be crucial here. This set of rolls. Nurgle's already down some players. And I'd be curious to see if they had anybody affected by the heat. Nope. And they got their knocked out guy back on the pitch. So they're pretty darn lucky. So looking at the Chaos Dwarves, is anyone suffering from heat exhaustion? So far, so good. There's one, and it's a Chaos Dwarf. That's a pretty big deal. You're down a Chaos Dwarf. Now he does have a Hobgoblin in reserve, so he's going to play that guy. So let's take a look at. Let's reflect back on that last score by the Chaos Dwarves. There was a lot of luck involved, sure, but I think mainly the Chaos Dwarves were able to take advantage of the numerous turnovers by Nurgle. Turnovers being the story early on. And I think it's going to be very tough for Nurgle to sort of recover, burning both of their rerolls early on. The opening setup was not bad for Nurgle. You saw early on that they were able to sort of knock down a majority of the Chaos Dwarves, but you could have done that without allocating so many people on the line. I think that was a big mistake, because you definitely want to protect that ball. What the hell? So opening setup for the Chaos Dwarves, they're going all in. If I was playing poker, that's what I'd call this move. It's all in. Everybody is at the line, daring, nay, tempting Nurgle to try to go, man for man again. So as we look at Nurgle's adjustments here, looks like they're pretty much going with that strategy of matching guy for guy. Again, I don't agree with the setup for the Chaos Dwarves. Nurgle should be able to take advantage of this setup, and initiate, because they're getting the ball. They should initiate the block war and punish the Dwarves. If they can get past the line of scrimmage, it's going to be very hard for the Chaos Dwarves to sort of recover here. So let's take a look at the opening kickoff now.
6.
You know what I was gonna do? I was gonna use her to do the
Perfect defense.
make you reveal your
Kicking team's coach may reorganize my play.
No matter, you did anyways.
I could have, but I didn't do it. Alright,
One victory point. Still need to win this one, but it's hard. Okay. I like the Vanessa and the Bix. Do now. And you're at action.
Actually, I'm not really adverse to the way things are.
So perfect D rolled on the kickoff table. Chaos Dwarves are sticking to their guns, and at this point, maybe going against the conventional wisdom is the smart thing to do. I don't know. You do have a lot of guys blocking the line, and you're putting your strength 4 guys on the line, and you're hoping, because Nurgle has no rerolls left, that a bad block could result in you pushing through that line, you getting to that ball. Now Nurgle has to be thinking, okay, if they can push through this line, they should be able to get a score here. There is enough time on the clock, but they need to. Well, I wouldn't start by throwing blocks, but at least you threw a block on a hobgoblin. That's a good thing. Hobgoblins on the line, risky, very risky for the Chaos Dwarfs to do. You knocked those guys out, you injured those guys. There's still a half. Yeah, there's still the rest of this half and the second half to go. You take out a couple of hobgoblins, and this team is going to suffer. They are definitely going to suffer. But again, they're not looking at covering the ball. So we'll see if it haunts them yet again. And the Beast of Nurgle earning his pay with a quick stun to start the Nurgle's opening drive. So not bad at all.
That sucks that it has a resist.
He's gonna block here.
Still, it's just a thing of like, right? Which one do you listen to? Oh no, sorry.
Drive into the crowd.
Alright. Crowd gets him.
Now what happens in the crowd?
So this is just epic fail by me. I was actually answering a question about Malifaux when this happened, but still, it's no excuse. Okay, That hobgoblin should not have been pushed into the crowd. There was a legal square for him to be pushed into, but I don't, I'm not going to blame the players for this. I'm just going to blame myself because I should have been able to look at the table at this point and say, no, he has, an eligible square to go to. Now, could he have been pushed out of bounds? Yes. If you had come in at the right angle. Unfortunately, at that angle, that is actually an illegal move, and Phil's Chaos Dwarves, they've already got a guy stunned, and now a guy's going into the crowd. So this is a potential devastating oversight. So I apologize for not seeing that. Watching the game tape now, though, I can't believe that I missed it. Fortunately for Phil, the crowd wasn't able to. They weren't. Maybe they weren't into bashing his skull in, so the guy ended up in the reserves block. But still, just a glaringly bad oversight.
It's 4 high, he's 2 high, and he has 2-inch melee. So he's gonna reach her.
He will.
He's got the Yes.
So he's a how charge? Charge? 6. Yeah.
If he was in range for your sword there.
All that dwarf.
You're at an 8.
Yeah, there's a problem.
Okay, I'm at 6. I'm at a 16.
Oh my god.
I'm not quite sure I like how you phrased that, but
Lower attack. Melee like here. There we go.
That's more like that.
Alright. He's gonna win.
You're at 20.
He'll go for it.
I will take your
Right,
death.
miscount the squares.
I took it for 17.
Roll your armor.
So.
And we have another turnover by Nurgle. Another go for it attempt gone bad. And this time, at least they're in a little bit better position. They've got a guy off the pitch. They have a guy stunned on the Chaos Dwarf side. And at least they have a guy holding the ball. So it doesn't look like an easy score for the Chaos Dwarves, but it's going to be hard for Nurgle to kind of come back now and come back and cage up or kind of come up with any type of play, because now the Dwarves begin, the bashing of skulls starts. Even with less guys on the field, you can easily set up a good block of chains. He's going to start with a 2-die block, and that should set up. Even if it's a push, it's going. In this case, it's not. Actually, the guy goes down. You can start setting up assists and very easily dominate that line.
Got it. But I just had one guy screw it up in my turn. Not that I was going to do anything of value. I'm thinking about it. Well, I had nothing I could do.
No, I mean, what was the? He was just coming in to cancel the system.
Exactly. And it's like, well, there's a 60% chance.
So we're joking
Make
that
that
any
whole any of them.
Yeah, hold on.
I'm thinking about trying to blitz with this guy on it. That's a couple of go for it stuff.
Well,
And that'd be a very short turn.
Knuckle has been assigned to him so far.
I know. All I need is for him to change his mind. All right, so he's going to block on him.
Okay.
Okay, good. That's comforting enough.
So strength advantage because they're on the outside.
I want to charge.
Okay. I'll push him there
Field reacher.
and take up residence.
Got charge of 8. Oh, I got charge of 8. Yeah, you're reaching. All right, other Victoria's gonna charge me.
He'll knock off him.
Okay. Straight.
Straight, yeah, because he's not down.
So we're gonna fight among the bamboos, like every good kung fu movie.
Before I do that, I can just move him around
Yep.
for a little
I have
help.
a card, so straight from the card. Oh, God.
So now it'd be strength advantage.
Yeah, bad roll. So I get a 2.
No, because he's in
a 9.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. Either way.
Oh shit! I got to draw a card for a kill. Draw a card.
Yeah, damn it. So many choices.
Lucky for actually, I did it the right way. This is the card I was going to draw. That's like it.
I'll mark my score.
Oh,
For now. I'm using my homemade one for that, so.
Yeah, 0 to mine or that.
you're that confident you're going to score 8.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I think I'm bad at
I'm going to go for the blitz just because. If the turn ends quickly, it's no worse than any of your turns, so I'm going to.
27.
I apologize, but. Alright.
8, 1, 2. Defense 7. 3. I'll still it. I'm at the 18 right now, so I need at least 8.
Oh, I got to go 4.
No, 9.
Go for it. Fifth.
9.
Go for it here. Gets it, and then go for it to do the hits.
Yeah, it's a tie, so I'm choosing 3 in the low, 2 in the lowest.
That's my figure.
Why not?
Is that your last?
Yeah. So we're both reroll free.
6.
Okay.
Straight up.
And polka dot. And they're
Not gonna let you get poker.
And that will take it away.
Okay.
And now we have a turnover by the Dwarves.
Turn 5.
Pretty risky play, but at this point you're up 1. Why not declare a go for it 1 die block? Besides, your dwarf has like a 1 in 6 chance of failing that because of his starting set of skills. So, why not?
He's going to roll.
Be good card.
He's okay.
Not a good card.
Oh,
7.
Jesus.
Draw a black joker. No. Yeah. You got it?
Oh, my God.
Roll armor.
Yeah, that's true.
And then Nurgle turns it right back over to the Chaos Dwarves.
I might as well be trying.
10 right now?
Yeah, not much to say about that, except that you now have, your ball carrier exposed. You have a guy right next to him. Wait, what? Oh, stands a guy right up this time. Now you can get a 2 die blitz on there, and Nurgle just really being punished by dice right now. It's really just Nuffle, just kicking them in the nuts. This could be a very potential bad situation for Nurgle. We'll see how Chaos kind of plays it, but I could see a very strong blitz coming. 2 die blitz, possibly with a dwarf, which would be even better.
He'll just go up to support. 3 and 4. He'll go ahead and block.
Okay, he had to stand up, so that's a blitz.
Okay, that'll be the blitz then.
Strength advantage to you.
So we have another illegal procedure not caught by anybody. It's nice to see it in hindsight. That blitz, at least in that order, could not have happened. He had already, had stood up the initial dwarf that was next to the ball carrier, and then marked him with another guy, and then went back to him and blitz. That's totally illegal. And again, something you missed, but it's nice to be able to see this happen, and watch the film, in hindsight. Just to sort of point that out. And again, I don't blame the players. I should have caught that myself while I was watching the game, but maybe I was just too blinded by all the, bad dice rolls that were happening on Nurgle's side. At least that's what I'm saying. That's my official excuse. Is that shouldn't have happened. It did end up in a push, so it didn't hinder him too much. But Nurgle was already hurting bad early, so I should have caught that.
Or block the dwarf. Strength advantage for Down there. Crack armor.
16. I will burn a stone.
She can burn stones?
Yes. Are you kidding me?
Pats the rotter.
You can't blitz and pass.
25.
Okay, new plans.
Where did I see this? You have
New plans.
She's basically a henchman. You are shitting me. Oh, not.
Paul.
Yamazugo can use soul stones. See, like
Yes.
Master.
Yeah.
A 6-point model?
He will stand up.
Mark does that all the time.
Never even knew that.
Yamazuko using soul stones.
That's horrid. So what are you at now? 25. 25?
Down to you.
Let's see, you was 19, plus 9. Yeah, I'd be Alright, so 3 tier 1. Alright, now Misaki's gonna go. Alright. She will attack her. Alright. 7.
He'll block him.
Yeah, not gonna follow up. And then, he'll blitz.
Okay.
There. 1, 2, 3. And
Advantage to you.
I'll take that.
Obviously.
And put him, water. There.
Okay. Roll armor.
Yes.
Yep.
Take it as
14, 26.
get that, so let you take it on the first.
So
He'll move.
this one.
2. No, you should be more. He'll block him. You're mine.
Okay.
Plus one more. 6. You go double coconuts.
Fair enough.
So
Yeah, that'll be.
I'm blocked. Or I still go down. Yeah.
Yeah, you go down. I don't.
Okay, so then she'll use her 2 actions left.
Armor.
But one's a melee.
And so a rare break for Nurgle as the Chaos Dwarfs commit their second turnover of the game. Now we are coming up on turn 7, so Nurgle has to position a player downfield. As you can see, things are pretty tightly wrapped up here. So they're going to... it's going to have to come off a blitz or maybe block a guy free, but it's just not a lot of forward momentum happening for Nurgle at this point. So let's see what they can come up with.
Warrior's gonna block him.
Alright, so.
Strength advantage because the rock router's sitting next to him.
Oh, you're right. So straight.
Take that. Knock you here.
6 damage.
Okay.
Do your mine on her.
You can do that twice. Doesn't crack off. He will go.
Alright, restore his turn.
Handoff. Does the runner catch it?
You have how many
Does.
stones?
5.
And I got the 4 and this is running over. What's up, King? You have King.
8 for me now. Go for it. It's my turn. Armor, scatter the ball.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the sound of hope dying for Nurgle fans as they end their turn 7 without a guy in scoring position. So, at this point, the Chaos Dwarves can sort of relax and just continue doing what they're doing, which is, punishing, pummeling, smashing, Nurgle face into the ground. They are up 1-0, and they don't have to worry about getting the ball.
Even, right?
So
4 on 4.
there's basically no pressure for them for their turn 7.
Oh, okay. So I can't do that.
He's done.
His turn's over. His okay.
Doesn't cause turnovers. But he's finished.
Okay.
Expression on your face.
I had the chance and rolled another go for it again.
18? Alright.
But for both players, I would say at this point, because this is a league match, you want to get some SPP. So maybe a quick pass, or hope for a casualty or something like that. It's very important to not just. This is the second, I would say, the second layer of Blood Bowl, especially playing in a league match. So you're in a situation where if you're Nurgle, your turn 8 is coming up, you can't score. And for the Chaos Dwarves, you don't have anybody in position right now to score, so you're not going to get any SPPs for touchdowns. So at this point, really what you need to do is sort of start thinking about how to score SPPs in other ways, and one of those ways is, through casualties. And with these two teams, it's going to be tough to get a casualty, granted, because of the high armor. But you throw enough dice at something, it's going to pay off, one way or another. And it's basically the same strategy for both teams at this point. Nurgle, you're going into the half, 1 down, but you can at least hurt the guy. And I would be at this point you want to pick on the hobgoblins, and try to hinder the guy's chance to score again. If you're Chaos Dwarves, the ball's in a pretty good position. You could try and pick it up, and you can get a quick pass in somewhere with your Bull Centaur. You want to try to get creative ways of just sort of scoring. But we're going to basically end the game at the half here. Not the game. The video. So I'm going to cut it at the half, and then probably edit the second half and upload that later. Thoughts on the first half? Obviously turnovers is being a big key. Turnovers for new players is going to be a frustrating thing. When you have bad dice rolls, as Mark did with he's the Nurgle coach, it's very easy to just throw up your hands and say well, I'm not going to win this game. But there's still an entire half of Blood Bowl to be played. What you've got to be thinking as a coach going into halftime down 1-0 is that, okay, I'm kicking the ball to him, but in Blood Bowl it is much more easier to play the defensive role and let the guy be forced to make his risks on his turn, picking up the ball, trying to pass it or whatever. Dwarves aren't known for passing, but you never know what your opponent's going to do. And that's what makes defense a lot more easier, is that there is pressure for the offensive guy to pick up the ball. That means less guys that he can use for punching. So if you're Nurgle, you're in a bad situation, yes. But it's far from over, is what I'm saying. It's definitely far from over, and if you can get that ball, if you can recover the ball quickly in that second half and tie it up, that will change the game. Basically, you want to pressure your opponent. You want him to feel like he's going to need a score, and he's going to need to score quickly. And for Dwarves, that's a very dangerous proposition. But if you can do that, if you can pull this off, then by all means, you could score 2 touchdowns in a turn. I mean, obviously there are better teams for it. The fast agility teams like Elves and Skaven can pull off 2 touchdowns in 4 turns. For Nurgle, it's going to be a little bit tough, but you're going to have to eventually learn how to you as a new player you should have a 2 touchdown plan, a play developed in your head where you're positioning your guys and sort of, okay, this is when I need to score fast. It's a skill set that every Blood Bowl coach needs, and definitely every team can score in 2 turns. So, developing a quick score play is essential. Again, I'm just kind of winding this down because right now what you're seeing is just 2 teams just kind of bashing each other and trying to score some SPP. As we head into the final turn of the half, things are going the Chaos Dwarfs' way. They are up 1 touchdown, and they got it off a basically turnovers for the Chaos or for Nurgle, and Nurgle just not having any ball protection. They were just more concentrated on punishing Chaos Dwarfs, but you gotta realize that this is a pretty high armored team. I mean, Chaos Dwarves have high armor. They come with block. You're not going to hurt them. You could easily hurt the Hobgoblins, but the dice just weren't there for Nurgle early on. So we'll have to see. I think it's going to be interesting to see what the Nurgle coach does to sort of rebound from this. What kind of adjustments you make. Blood Bowl is more about in-game strategy than what you have on the field. That other meta that dominates other war games, where it's list building over in-game play. Blood Bowl sort of favors in-game play more. And my thoughts on this first half was it was interesting to see or watch a game being a spectator and just seeing what things that observing things that I would do differently, or seeing things that would work out that I would never would think to work out. One of them is being the opening setup of both coaches. It shouldn't have favored the Dwarfs. It just absolutely shouldn't have. Nurgle should have been able to, knock down a few guys and open up a hole and run right through them and actually punish them. But we saw the exact opposite happening. So that's the, that is what Blood Bowl is. I mean, it sometimes there's conventional wisdom and then there's Blood Bowl. What should have been a good opening half for Nurgle turned out to be a disastrous one. And it wasn't because he, I mean, I would say, yes, there were bad dice rolls, absolutely. But there were a couple of mistakes made where they weren't covering the ball. You could recover from bad dice rolls in Blood Bowl. Believe it or not, you can. But bad strategy, that's a lot harder to recover from. So we're going to just end this game. They are now starting the second half, and we'll see you in the next video.